both players don't have a good output if either changes its side. So, if each player has a chosen strategy, and no player can benefit by changing strategy, while the other players keep theirs unchanged, then the current set of strategy choices and the current responding playoffs constitutes a Nash Equilibrium. It provides a way of predicting what will happen if several people or several institutions are making decisions at the same time, and the outcome depends on the decisions of the others. So I'm going to show an easy example, unless you'll call it the walking on the street example. Okay, so let's say we have person A. Person B. The goal of person A is to get on this side of the road. The goal of person B is to get on this side of the road. Let's just say this is just a pedestrian sidewalk. So there's two options each of these can take. A can walk on the left side. We're going to call that, this is the left side. We're going to call that L. Or can choose to walk on the right side. These are A's two options. So A can walk left or right. B can walk right or left. Right or left. The best option for A, and the most logical option, would be to stay on the left side. The most logical option for person B is to stay on the right side. So, what are the possibilities here? We'll make a little graph. Now, we have to put a numerical value to each thing for it to make some sense. So let's say the best thing is done. We're going to say that's X, and that's going to equal 2. So the best thing that's done is if A takes left and B takes right. Then let's say there's the combination where, and I'll show you, each one has to do more work. So A takes right and B takes left. Let's give that the value of 1. Now, let's say that both of them, so let's say A changes their strategy, but B doesn't. this is person B, and this is person A. Over here is a right. Over here is also a right. And this is if A takes a left and if B takes a left. So, let's see, the first scenario is if B keeps to the right, but A turns to the right, they bump into each other. So the numerical result is -1 and -1, because nobody wins. Because A changed their initial strategy and moved, and now they bumped into each other, and it's awkward, so -1. Now, if B takes the right and A takes the left, that would be a 2 and 2, because they're both doing what they planned to do. Now, here's another thing. If B took a left and A took a right, you would get 1 and 1. The reason it won't be 2 is because it uses more work. You both changed strategies and made your life a little harder, but you still get the same result. And if both took left, they would bump into each other, making it awkward. So it would be -1, -1. And simple, this is the Nash Equilibrium. Both sides have chosen to stay with their given strategies. Here's something else that Nash talked about. Adam Smith, which is known as the father of economics, he's an economist from the 18th century, and beliefs are very much founded into capitalism. He basically, in very, very layman's terms, believed that what is best for the individual in the society is best for the whole, for the greater of society. What's best for the individual is best for the group. However, Nash came up with a different idea, saying that what is better for the group might not be the best for the individual, and I'm just going to show how that works. With something simple. Alessio and I would like to go on a date. Alessio and me. Alessio is A and I am D. So there are 3 options. We can see a black and white film. I'm going to say that's B. We can see a comedy. Or we can do nothing, stay at home and fight. Okay, now we have to assign value to what each person wants. So this will be Alessio, and this will be me, Dina. Alessio is boring and likes black and white movies. So for him, seeing a black and white movie would be assigned a 3. For me, however, I would assign it a -1 because I'd rather die. For Alessio, seeing a comedy, we'll assign that a 1. He doesn't really want to, but, for me, that would be a 3. Doing nothing for Alessio would be a -1 because he really wants to do something and not bite. But let's say for me, it's a 0 because I'm lazy and I don't care if we do nothing. So let's put this out into a graph. black and white movie, for me, that's a -1. But for Alessio, that gives a value of 3. If we were to see a comedy and a black and white movie separately, let's say, but we're going to get into why that's not important, but for this situation, it would be, for me, still a negative. Sorry, for me, it would be a 1. Sorry, for me, it would be a 3 because I want to see a comedy. And for Alessio, it would be a 1. In this situation, for me, it would be a 0. For Alessio, it would be a -1. In this situation, if we see black white comedy, for me, it would be a 3. For Alessio, it would be a 1. If we both saw a comedy, for Alessio, it'd be a 1. For me, it'd be a 3. Sorry, -1 for black and white. -1. -1. No, what? Shit. Let's make a graph. In this case, we have 3 instances. Alright. So, this is Dina. Sorry, this is going to be Alessio. This is going to be Dina. Me. So, this is the black and white movie. This is the comedy. And this is the doing nothing. This is the black and white movie. This is the comedy. Doing nothing. If we both see a black and white movie, for me, that would be a -1 value. For Alessio, however, it would be a 3. If I saw a comedy in black and white, now this is the thing. These are the set of roles here. Is what determines what could be the best. And the set of rules is that we have to do the same thing. So, these would not be relevant. For me, if we both saw a comedy, it would have the value of 3 for Dina, but 1 for Alessio. If we both did nothing, it would have the value of 0 for me and -1 for Alessio. So we could see here, in total, this is a 2, this is a 4, and yep, that's just a loss. So the best situation is obviously my choice because who wants to see a black and white movie? But the best situation for our relationship would be not of the individual, but it would be what we put into value and how we categorize that. Simple example of what Nash meant. But yeah, it's one I understood, guys. So this is a pretty popular one, and it is called The Prisoner's Dilemma, which you might have heard of. So, you have 2 prisoners, and they both don't know what the other one is going to do. Prisoner B and prisoner A. Now, rats the other one out. They'll each get 3 years in prison. If person X does not comply and person Y does not comply, they each get 1 year in prison. So let's do it like this. Person B rats the other one out, and person A also rats the other one out. Therefore, they both get 3 years. Let's say person A does not comply with person B does. He gets 3 months. By the way, person A and person B know these rules. Oh, I did this a little complicated. I shouldn't have put it like that. Okay, it should be like this, guys. Sorry. I'm just not gonna make another graph, like you kind of get it, okay, guys? I really can't. Okay, this would again be 5 years, 3 months. And this one would be 1 year, 1 year. Now, obviously, the best outcome would be if they both didn't comply. However, psychologically speaking, they are more likely to rat each other out because they'd be too afraid to not comply and get the 5 years, thinking that the other person would rat the other person out. It's used to explain why maybe some companies are afraid to hire their prices, as they don't know competitors could lower their prices and gain advantage in the situation. This is because we don't know the moves of other people. So that's a really poor graph of prisoner's dilemma. But I'll show you another one. Is the zero sum. This is when all options end up equaling 0. So, for example, let's say I am Dina and Alessio. Make a bet. Equals bet. They each bet 10 euros that a different team will win. Dina bets team A, and Alessio bets team B. Say, whatever. For Alessio, for Dina. So, lose, win, win, lose. Alright. So, in the case that Alessio wins, he gets 10, and I am out 10 euros. In the case we both lose, which would be if, say, the football game ties 0-0, both win. Again, game ties 0-0. And if I win, I get 10, and Alessio gets -10. Poor Alessio. That's a simple one. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed my video. Those are just some examples of game theory, and I'm sorry if it's poorly made. But yeah, I hope you like it. If you want me to do something else with more examples or something more complex, which will be like homework for me, but it'll be fun, let me know. Good night. Hi. Hello. I'd like to take a moment here to say thank you to my patrons, to M.A., Amy, Sixto, David, and Mauro. It means a lot to me that you're supporting my channel and my content. Thank you so much.